6 months ago, I picked up my first handheld gaming device, the Cube XX. I thought I was adopting a simple hobby. It turns out that I'd opened an unlicensed sanctuary for needy electronics. Fast forward to today, and I've got this growing collection of these handhelds that at some point I'm going to have to either donate to a children's charity to ease my guilt or sell on eBay to ease my wallet. And I'm constantly on the hunt for the best handheld experience outside an unlicensed brothel. That hunt led me to the XF40H. This is a device that promises to deliver thousands of retro games on a unique 4-inch square screen, a collection so vast that it includes every classic that you've ever loved and several thousand that you'll just politely ignore and hope that they'll go away of their own accord. Of course, I was interested to pit this against my original device and find out if it was a cube killer. But after spending considerable time with this little machine, I can tell you that whilst it's not perfect, it's surprisingly capable for what you pay. The screen quality genuinely impressed me. It's got the sort of crisp, confident display that would introduce itself at a party before you do. Wi-Fi connectivity is such an unexpected inclusion. You get the sense that it sort of snuck into the circuit board whilst the accountant wasn't looking. And yeah, there are some rough edges. There are some corners that could have been knocked off this. And it reminds you that it's not a premium device. The XF40H sits in that curious space where budget and ambition meet for a brief, slightly awkward conversation before going their separate ways. We shouldn't really be looking at whether this handheld can compete with devices that are twice its price, but whether it could deliver enough joy to justify a place on a shelf that's already sending me passive-aggressive notes about being overcrowded. But I'm still interested to know, after a few hours of intense hands-on action, will this new contender leave my old box feeling thoroughly beaten? Let's start with what you get when you crack open the box. The XF40H arrives with all of the ceremony of a budget device, which is to say that it's not much ceremony at all. The packaging feels like it was designed by somebody who believes that cardboard is merely a suggestion rather than a protection. Inside, you'll find the console itself, a charging cable, the totally useless flimsy screen protectors that you often get with these consoles, and a manual that's actually surprisingly well written. It also comes with this rather nifty carrying case, which is a nice little unexpected bonus at this price point. Let's just take a moment to pause there. This is a $40 device, and it comes with more stuff in the box than some $70 to $90 devices, including another box that you can keep the device in and carry around with you. The XF40H actually has quite a nice form factor. You can slip it into a pocket, but you'll have a noticeable bulge, and people might think you've got a prolapse. The build quality sits firmly in that territory I'd like to call functional, but not fancy. The plastic construction feels sturdy enough for daily use, as long as you don't use it daily as a stress ball. This thing won't win any awards for premium materials. There are indeed some sharp edges that suggest the design team's relationship with ergonomics was more of a casual acquaintance than a deep friendship. But it's also got these love handles on the back that they do make it more comfortable when playing for long sessions. Somebody has thought about the design for this. The overall aesthetic is clean and modern, with the square screen giving it a distinctive look that sets it apart from the sea of handhelds that are all trying to be the next Game Boy. Now, let's talk about those controls for a minute, because this is where you're going to be spending most of your time. The D-pad is surprisingly decent for a device at this price point, offering good tactile feedback and accurate directional input. I didn't find that I was hitting too many unwanted diagonals, but this doesn't have quite the same quality as some of the more expensive devices. The face button, labelled in the familiar Switch configuration, are responsive enough for most retro gaming scenarios, though they're a touch clicky, as are all of the buttons, and that's not that satisfying clicky that you can get with some of the consoles. They're a little small, they're built more like a headache pill than a user input device, and I do think that they might become a problem if you're planning on long play sessions with this device. The analog sticks are functional but unremarkable. They'll get the job done for those few games that need them, but trying to pull off precise movements with these sticks is an exercise in hope, prayer, and ultimately failure. The shoulder buttons are actually one of the device's stronger points. They're well positioned and they offer a good resistance without feeling too mushy. During extended gaming sessions, you might find yourself adjusting your grip more often than you'd like, or noticing how certain buttons dig into your skin a little, though this is hardly uncommon in the budget handheld space. The screen is where the XF40H genuinely shines, and frankly, it's the star of this particular show. That 4-inch IPS display with its 720 by 720 resolution creates a viewing experience that punches well above its class. The colours are vibrant, the viewing angles are excellent, and the brightness levels are more than adequate for both indoor and outdoor use. The same square aspect ratio initially feels unusual if you're coming from a traditional handheld, but it quickly reveals its genius when you start playing Game Boy titles or vertical arcade games. These games can fill the screen without stretching or without significant black bars, creating an experience that feels both authentic and immersive. The screen quality honestly surprised me. It's the kind of display that makes you forget that you're using a budget device until you remember the price you paid for it. For systems like the NES and SNES, the 4x3 content displays beautifully, with some letterboxing, and I'll be honest, if black bars on games really worry you when you're playing, then these 1x1 displays are really not for you. But if you're happy to put up with a little bit of black around your image, then you've got a really good experience here. Game Boy games look absolutely spectacular at full screen size. The only time the square format feels limiting is with PSP or other widescreen content, but let's be honest, this device was never intended to play PSP anyway. One other major benefit for this square screen is that you won't lose any real estate over other screen sizes. 4x3 games will play at the same size on a 3.5-inch display as they will on this, and Game Boy Advance games, well, you might have black borders top and bottom, but you're not going to be squinting to see the content. Under the hood, the XF40H runs on the Rockchip RK3326 quad-core processor, a chipset so common in budget handhelds that it should come with its own Union card. Paired with 1GB of RAM and a Mali GPU, this combination delivers exactly what you'd expect at this price bracket. For 8-bit and 16-bit systems like SNES, NES, Game Boy, Sega Genesis, performance is flawless. These games run at full speed with no frame drops or audio issues, providing that authentic retro experience that we're all chasing. PlayStation 1 emulation is genuinely solid, with the vast majority of the library running smoothly, though every so often a demanding title reminds the processor that it isn't being paid enough to do its job. Nintendo 64 performance is where things really get interesting. N64 emulation is a lottery. Sometimes you'll get a game running smoothly, other times you'll get a slideshow that's less of a frame rate and more of a frame suggestion. The performance ceiling becomes apparent when you venture into Dreamcast or PSP territory, where the chipset starts to show its limitations. The processor doesn't just struggle with these systems, it waves a white flag and suggests that you might want to try a different hobby entirely. But here's the thing. For the systems that it handles well, it handles them very well indeed, and that covers a massive library of classic games that will keep you entertained for decades. The software experience is built around Emulation, and I have to say it's refreshingly straightforward. The interface is clean and functional, though it lacks some of the polish that you'll find on more advanced custom firmware solutions. For tinkerers, the good news is that you are not stuck with the stock OS. The XF40H is compatible with a build of ArcOS, which can unlock even more performance and customization, as well as Portmaster, which really does open up this console for a lot of new things. If you want to know exactly how to install ArcOS on this device, I have a setup guide right here on this channel, which I'll link for you in the description below. The inclusion of Wi-Fi at this price point is genuinely impressive. It opens up possibilities for retro achievements and allows for game scraping and metadata downloads directly from the device. The system comes preloaded with games on a 64GB card, which sounds kind of impressive until you realise that many of these are duplicates or games that you'd never heard of and probably never wanted to. Still, there's enough of quality content here to keep you busy, and the convenience of having everything ready to play out of the box can't be overstated. The device boots quickly, and navigating the menus is intuitive enough that you won't need the manual that we talked about earlier. Audio quality is adequate but unremarkable, which kind of seems to be the theme for many of the handhelds at this price point. The built-in speaker provides a clear sound that's perfectly serviceable for casual gaming, but the speaker has all of the bass and dynamic range of a wasp trapped inside a jam jar. The real audio story is the 3.5mm headphone jack, which delivers clean, distortion-free sound that makes those classic games soundtracks shine. The audio output through headphones is really good, with enough power to drive most earphones and headphones without strain. There's also a vibration motor built in, which adds nice tactile element to compatible games, though on a retro library, which is what you'll mostly be playing here, it basically sits there like an excitable puppy with no one to play with. But one of the benefits of the 1x1 screen is the ability to play Tate games at a decent resolution without turning your console on its side. If your desire is to play the older systems, then the classics play really, really well. Games like 1942, Twinbee, Radian, Neo Geo vertical titles, CPS3 games, they're all well within this console's wheelhouse. But if your Tate library leans more towards the modern, then you'll want a stronger chipset. Even the Cube would struggle with some of these systems, and you probably want to invest in the Paugity RGB30 before they become playable. When comparing the XF40H to its primary competitors, the landscape becomes quite interesting. The RGB30 with its more powerful RK3566 chipset offers better performance for demanding systems, but it comes at a much higher price point. The Ambinic Cube XX provides a boost in performance to the XF40H's chipset, but with superior ergonomics and build quality. What sets the XF40H apart is really its aggressive pricing. It's not the most powerful device in this category, nor is it the best built, but it offers a compelling package that's hard to ignore if you're looking for an entry point into square-screen retro gaming. The device manages to find that sweet spot where compromises feel acceptable rather than frustrating, which is no small achievement in the budget handheld market. So who is the XF40H actually for? This device is perfect for newcomers to the retro handheld scene who want to dip their toes into the water without diving headfirst into their wallet. It's ideal for Game Boy enthusiasts who want to see those classic titles in a really big square screen glory, or you might want to play the classic Tate games without compromising on playability or screen size. If you're somebody who appreciates the convenience of Wi-Fi features like retro achievements but doesn't want the premium prices, the XF40H delivers exactly that. However, if you're a perfectionist who demands flawless build quality, or if your primary interest lies in emulating demanding 3D systems, you'll want to look elsewhere. The XF40H is honest about what it is. It's a budget device that prioritizes value and functionality over premium materials and cutting-edge performance. In that context, it succeeds admirably. This device isn't going to revolutionize your gaming experience, but it will provide countless hours of retro gaming enjoyment without breaking the bank. The screen quality alone makes it worth considering, and the Wi-Fi features add genuine value that you won't find on many competitors at this price. Yep, the build quality has room for improvement, and yes, you're going to want to invest in a better microSD card, but these are all manageable compromises for what you're getting. If you're curious about square screen gaming and you want an affordable way to explore that world, the XF40H is a solid choice that won't leave you feeling shortchanged. That's what I think anyway. Have you used the XF40H? If so, what did you think about it? Or, let me know what you think about square screen gaming in the comments below. Drop your comments down there. I'll get back to them as soon as I can. Well, that's it for this video. If you'd like to see more content like this, then please do subscribe and make sure you hit that little notification bell that comes up. And until next time, thanks ever so much for watching and happy gaming.